Candice, the planes. Maybe sit down because there's more. Candice highlighted 2 Egyptian planes. Many people have tagged me, so I looked into them too, and when I did, my jaw dropped. First, a quick clear-up of the timestamps from the gentleman sharing flight details on Candice's show. On September 10th, Utah was -6 of UTC, not -7 because of daylight savings. So everything I'm about to say is in the correct Utah Mountain local time. So, Egyptian planes. To give you an idea of how rare it is, in the entire United States today, there's one that pops up. But September 10th, not one but 2 Egyptian state-owned jets. SU Bravo November Delta, I'm going to go with SU BND, and SU Bravo Tango Tango, which I'll call SU BTT. These are not tourism jets. They are military, government, transport aircraft. These aircraft normally land at major diplomatic or military hubs, not small regional airports. Their presence at Provo Airport would require special U.S. clearance and is highly unusual. Not only were both of these jets at Provo on September 10th, but separately, both of them arrived via Minot Air Force Base. This is America's only nuclear base that holds 2 out of the 3 U.S. nuclear triad. If it's press the button time, this base is key. One of these planes was only on the ground for less than an hour, tight for refueling, but might work when something or someone needs to be picked up, dropped off, or something or somewhere needs to be authorized. And the very next stop for both of these planes, after going wheels up from Minot Nuclear Air Force Base, was Provo. And by the way, SU BND landed at Provo May 23rd, 2025 and stayed till September 14th. A foreign state aircraft hanging out at a regional airport for nearly 4 months. SU BND also did this on September 5th, 5 days before the assassination. SU BND flew a straight corridor north of Provo and then came straight back. It did not land anywhere. Analysts would call this a mapping run, an electronic surveillance sweep, sensor calibration, or an intelligent flight conducted under special clearance. Then, on September 14th, it finally left Utah for Goose Bay, Newfoundland, which is a strategic NATO-linked location. And even its departure from Provo raised a little eyebrow. SU BND was supposed to leave on September 14th just after midnight, but sat on the ground for nearly 19 more hours before eventually taking off. Diplomatic aircraft movements normally are tightly controlled, so a big delay could mean something held the plane there or something needed to happen before it was cleared to depart. Believe it or not, this will get stranger with Axel 10. On September 10th, the day Charlie was shot, a US ISR contractor jet shows up in the mix. Axel 10, a Bombardier Global 6500 operated by LaSalle, which is owned by Leidos, a major military intelligence contractor tied to the Army's Hades deep sensing program, which means detect, map, track signals, communications, electronics, and activity far beyond the line of sight, from dozens to even hundreds of miles away. On September 10th, Axel 10 made 2 extremely low passes. I calculated as low as 210 feet above ground level, directly aligned within roughly 3 miles of UVU. Once at 9:15 a.m., about 3 hours before Charlie was shot, and again at 12:48 p.m. local time, about 25 minutes after. A jet like this normally flies at 30, 40, 50,000 feet. And remember, when we see barometric altitude, that is height above sea level. When we take away the elevation of Provo and the lake the plane is flying over, that's how we arrive at 200 to 300 feet above ground level, which is crazy low, and analysts would probably say indicates emission. I pulled the KML files for both of the Axel 10 flights, and I wanted to show you how flawlessly aligned that dip is with the Orem UVU corridor. Both flights pass the exact airspace and do the same deep dip. Extremely precise behavior and airspace either side of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And still, it gets stranger. At 13:08 UTC, Universal Time Coordinated, which is 7:08 a.m. in Utah on September 10th, SU BTT begins departure from Provo. 7:08 a.m. at the same minute, according to its track, Axel 10 pops up on flight radar, wheels on the ground in El Paso for its departure, which will ultimately make that first deep dip. within miles of UVU. These are unrelated aircraft, right? An Egyptian military government plane linked to Minot Air Force Base and a US jet tied to deep sensing ISR programs. Both planes hundreds of miles apart. Besides the coincidental departure time, they also have in common the location of Provo on the day of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Statistically unusual, which does not mean coordinated. I want to make that point. And we're not even done with the high strangeness. SU-BND, the other Egyptian jet that had been sitting dormant in Provo since May 23rd, on the morning of September 10th, sent a handful of ground pings, as seen on Candace, but SU-BND did not take off. It is already unusual for a foreign state aircraft to be at Provo for months, so after being electronically silent, pinging on September 10th, the day of Charlie's shooting is again unusual. None of this proves a cause, a perpetrator, coordination, but this is real flight data, verifiable and irregular. At a minimum, we're looking at overlapping intelligence-grade activity in the air corridor of an assassination. Let me know what you think, and Candace, I really hope this helps you. I am so sorry you lost your friend. I'll see you in the comments. Take care.